And I think the answer we have seen in much of our business life, there are exceptions. We all know this. They've become more frequent, sadly, because we do live in an era when people have forgotten the moral basis of economics and business. And you and I both know that that has led to serious lapses. People entrusted with the care of pension funds and other things who have not kept their obligations straight and have worked for their own profit at the expense of those whom they should serve. People who are at the helm of businesses, who put their own greedy little personal interest above what they owe to their stockholders, what they owe to those clients that they're supposed to be serving with a quality service and a quality product. We've seen it happen. We've seen some great heads roll in the last few years. Folks who used to sit in fancy boardrooms now sitting in a lot less fancy jail cells for that very reason. Because we have forgotten that economics has a moral basis and it also has ethical and moral requirements. But on the whole, I'd have to say we wouldn't be the great country we are if it wasn't the case that those people are the exception. They're not the rule. I think there's an exceptional quality that has been manifest in the entrepreneurial spirit of the American people. But sadly, in the last few days, I've had to think a lot about things that I had studied in graduate school and knew about in one way or another. And that is the fact that, sorry to tell you, I guess you've noticed it, but our political life really doesn't live up to that standard of integrity. I can see the shock on all your faces. How dare you say that? And I wouldn't want to say that those of us who live in Illinois have some, shall we say, special historical acquaintance with this fact. But you and I both know it's true, don't we? Yes, I'm not supposed to talk about it, and I want to be polite. It is true, as they keep reminding you, that I just got here. But the truth of the matter is, y'all, that when something becomes this egregious, you don't have to be here for long to notice it. Okay? And I want to tell you clearly that I think the one thing we've got to try in our public and political life to offer to the people of Illinois is we have got to try to offer them the restoration of true integrity in the service that politicians and public figures give to the people of this state. It is long overdue. And the first prerequisite in politics, just as it is a prerequisite in business, is a fairly clear and a fairly simple one. There's a whole list of things. It's staying up late and getting up early. It's working hard and all these things we talked about. But you know the most important thing it is, because you're supposed to be a representative of the people, the most important thing is, after all is said and done, when you stand before them and say, I believe X and will work for Y, that they can trust your word, that you say what you mean and you mean what you say. And I hope you'll forgive me at this point for remembering that much as I am enjoying sharing these thoughts with you just between us, I do speak in the presence of an election that requires that we always remember that standing right here on the stage with me in your minds is my opponent. I remember that. And I was expecting, when I decided that I was going to step forward in this race, given all the hype I had heard and the impression that had been made on many people around the country, including myself, by State Senator Obama's speech at the Democratic National Convention, I was stepping into an arena with somebody who had real substance and talents and capabilities, who was forthright and confident, and who had already, I was told, made it clear that the statesmanlike requirements of the situation meant that you had to have clear debates before the people of the state. He sent a letter to his opponent. It was a beautiful letter. It was. No, I'm not kidding about this. It was a letter that cited the heritage of Illinois, the great Lincoln-Douglas debates, and how folks needed to measure up to the standard that was set by them. It talked about making sure you served all the people of Illinois, and so you had to have debates in every region of the state so that nobody would be left out, and that meant 6 debates. And It talked about the need to make that commitment in order to serve the interest of the people. Now, the reason I go through all of that is because that means that over here is the standard of service to the people of Illinois. And that standard, by the way, was not established by Alan Keyes. You do remember that. I just found it on the table when I got here. I picked it up and I said to myself, that's a good standard. I like that standard. And some folks on my campaign staff, let's negotiate about this, negotiate about that. I said, no, that's a good letter. That's a good standard. First thing I'm going to do out of the box is agree with my opponent. Take that. And so I did. And people asked me about debates, and I said, there's the standard that's on the table. Let's go forward with it. And you know, much to my shock and surprise, I had not been in the arena for 24 hours when what should happen but that my opponent, State Senator Obama, holds a press conference, and all of a sudden he's decided that it's only 2 debates now. And I know some people think that this is quibbling 6 debates, 2 debates. It's not a matter of numbers, though. It's a matter of the standard. He set the standard that he said was necessary to serve all the people of the state and to meet the heritage of statesmanship that Illinois represents. I didn't set it. He set it. And then I hadn't been in the race 24 hours, and he says he doesn't want to live up to that standard anymore. I wonder what could have affected his confidence in that 24-hour period. Well, we won't think about that, will we? Some people might accuse me of something if I dwelt on that too much. A lack of modesty or something. I don't know. But it does seem like an interesting coincidence, doesn't it? But the first thought that occurred to me, though, as he went from 6 debates down to 2, since he had said that we needed 6 to cover the whole state and make sure that in all regions of the state people got a first-hand look at the debates, the question I asked myself was, who's he leaving out? Who is he leaving out? Who has he decided doesn't need the first-hand look that he said would serve the interest of the people of this state? Who does he mean not to remember when he gets into the United States Senate? Who does he mean to kick to the curb the minute he has power in his hands? Who does he mean to forget in Illinois? And it's not only a powerfully important question in a political sense. The other thing is it represents a powerfully important question about what kind of service he means to give to the people. He set the standard. He promises to live up to the standard. He offers his opponent an opportunity to do so. And then when he faces me, he suddenly decides, no, not going to pay attention to what I said yet. And I'm going to back away. The other day I got a question from a reporter, and he says to me, well, is it in Senator Obama's interest politically now that you're in the race? He's got all the hype. He's got all the attention. He's got this. He's got that. If he doesn't have to debate you, then he could hold on to his lead and sail into the United States Senate. And that's in his political interest. And I sat there thinking to myself, well, that may be true from the point of view of some cynical, self-centered, selfish political ambition. But the standard in that letter, I don't remember it opening with the fact that it said, we candidates have an interest in manipulating the debate process in the service of our cynical ambition. And therefore, we'll determine the number of debates based on what serves our narrow, selfish political ambition, and we'll forget the best interests of the people of the state. Is that what he wrote in that letter? No, it's not. He sounded like a high-minded statesman, but he's acting like the same old machine politicians that have already proven that they cannot serve the interests of the state of Illinois.